So we want to talk about some pride today. Pride is everyone in the chat. If everyone could raise your hand, if you've known someone or if you've been that person yourself that have fallen the victim of pride-itis. I want to see if anybody thought of, woo, everybody hands went up. They like, man, I know that person. I've been that person, right? Yeah. It happened to King David. He was the man after the Most High's heart. And it said, and Satan entered him and had him number the people. Why was that such a big thing? Because guess what? If you know how many people you are over, you can stick your chest out. You can say that I'm over 1.5. This is the 1.5 man right here. I'm over 1.5, 2 million people that march to the beat of my drums, that do whatever I tell them to do, that can inflate your ego. The Most High didn't tell him to get a number. He didn't tell him to do that. So as soon as, and it took Joab 9 months to go get the exact number. And when they brought the number back to David, it said his heart smote him. Boom. Because he knew he fell a victim of pride-itis. What about Nebuchadnezzar going through his house, looking at his chambers, looking at his hands, and saying, look at what I've done. And in a moment, he got struck down to a beast in the field and he had to eat grass for 7 years. Listen, my brothers, we got to make sure that we watch out for this disease called pride. It is the deadliest outside of fear. This is one of the deadliest diseases known to mankind in the history of mankind is pride-itis. We have to make sure it doesn't grab a hold of us. All right, so we're going to be talking about that today. Pride and humility. We're going to be talking about some emotional self-awareness, decision-making under pressure, case studies, mirror checks. We got to look at that mirror and say, okay, am I exemplifying pride right now? Because it's very easy to creep on in there. It comes in so quick, even to the most humble and meek ones of us on this live right here. It creeps in so quick. If pride can overtake David, and he was a man after the Most High, what do you think he could do to you and I? Let's continue. Yes, why is it hard to admit when we're wrong? We're going to talk about that and how can we practice humility. So let's go to pride and humility for a second. I'm going to open up the meeting to everyone, but I want to go over a few scriptures. I know normally I kind of like to get everyone's feedback on some of these weeks that we've been going. I like to get a feedback from everyone because it's an interactive Zoom meeting, but I want to be able to lay the groundwork with some scriptures today. All right, so I want you to turn your attention to Proverbs chapter 16. And I might have to refer to some secular sources. Sometimes that helps with the learning. And I'm not talking about secular sources as far as books, but I'm talking about people in general. All right, Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 18. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So keep that in mind. Verse 19, better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Now, this is a law. It's not a law in the first 5 books of the Bible. So if you look in there in Genesis through Deuteronomy, you're not going to see a law that says thou shalt not have pride. But what will happen is when you come over to the laws of wisdom, you'll be able to see that pride is sin. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 4, if you want to write it down, a high look and a proud heart, and the plowing of the wicked is sin. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 13, if you want to write that down, pride is hateful before the Most High and man. When we start asking people to throw their hands up, and you was get a consensus of everyone on the line, I think everyone on here would be able to say, I hate being around a prideful individual. I hate it. Person think they know everything. You can't tell them anything. They think that they stuff don't stink. Jonathan got his hand up over there.
Yeah, just a quick question. What was that scripture in Ecclesiastes? Is that what you said?
Ecclesiastes 10 and 13.
Ecclesiastes.
You are welcome. So pride is hateful. It's 10 and 7, and it goes down to 13. All right, 10 and 7 was the actual address, and it works down 13. So pride. So I'm gonna read an excerpt from my book right here called Wisdom, the World's Greatest Hidden Treasure. on this topic, and we're going to continue to move forward. There is a disease, deadly disease that has secretly destroyed men and women since the beginning of time. This illness has claimed more lives than COVID-19, smallpox, and the swine flu combined. The symptoms of this affliction are very clear to see from a person that has been cured from this illness. The debilitating effects of this infection can cause one to be at the brink of death and not even know it. Even an anointed cherub who covered the presence of the Almighty eventually succumbed to this sickness. As a result, this same angel was kicked out of heaven and lost his royal position. This disease does not play favorites and loves to attack the human body. Once a person has achieved great success, financial prosperity, fame, recognition, and so much more. We all have to be on the lookout for perhaps the most deadly disease of all time, besides fear. This haughty, pompous, self-decaying affection is called pride. All right, so I just want to lay the groundwork with that to let you know how serious this disease is. It is more potent than COVID-19, it's more potent than smallpox, the flu, whatever disease you could throw out there. Pride and fear. These two diseases have killed more people than any other disease. Cancer, throw cancer in the midst too. Pride and fear, they will take your life. It will cause events to start happening in your life to where you will go on a downward trajectory and you will feel like you're on top of the world today, but then months later, a year or two later, the world will be on top of you. And now in the days where I was growing up, Adrian was growing up, we didn't have social media when we was y'all age. All right, Darren your Aspire was in that age group as well, a few years after us. We didn't have social media as we was coming up, but now, when you make a mistake, now it's exposed to the whole world within a matter of minutes. And so you have to be extra careful on what you do. I have to be extra careful and cautious. So let's continue. So pride, we talked about that, Proverbs 16. I'm not going to read you through my book because I'm not trying to just bore you on that. But I want to throw out some instances for a second. So I'm going to go back to another secular references. For those of you all, some of you all wasn't born when this happened, but y'all know about Mike Tyson. So in the 80s, he was a teenager, rising up the ranks, right? At the age of 20 years old, he won the heavyweight championship. But what happened was he stopped training. He stopped feeling like he don't have to train hard for fights. And what happens was they start bowing down and worshiping him. They made a crown to him. They made a throne. They put a crown on his head. He had Don King behind him. And these people start worshiping Mike Tyson. And so when Buster Douglas came out, Buster Douglas just lost his mother. Speculation on what had to happen. He lost his mother a few days before the fight. But he came in there hungry as the underdog, and Tyson really still beat him with that uppercut. He laid down for 13 seconds, but he still ended up winning. But Buster Douglas knocked him out and took the title from him. And in essence, this is how pride works. You could be feeling like you up on top of the world, on top of the mountain, and then the Most High can allow something to happen. Another couple instances real quick, and I'm going to get back to spiritual, but I'm just making some secular points real quick. There was a man named, for those of you that watch basketball, there was a man named Latrell Sprewell. All right, he had a Sprewell tires, Sprewell rims. People was riding them in the 90s. I'm riding spinners. They had the Sprewell circlet on their cars and all that. And so he gets to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and when it's time to negotiate a contract, they was going to give him a contract for, I believe, $21 million. And he turned it down and said, I got to feed my family. And guess what happened? No one else ever picked him up again after that. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, that played for Cincinnati. Best years at Cincinnati. But guess what? He started smelling himself. He started feeling like, I'm above the Bengals. I'm above everything. And guess what? Nobody else ever wanted to pick him up again. Played for the Patriots. Brady didn't even like him. Played for another team. They didn't like him. And next thing you know, he's out of the league. So these are some secular examples. I'm going to get back to the spiritual because some of you all might be like, man, I don't want to hear about that today. It's the Sabbath, what? But I'm just telling you, I'm painting some real life examples of how individuals, whether it's in sports or entertainment or whether it's in your day-to-day affairs, this stuff can ruin you. not having pride under control. I was a very arrogant person growing up, playing basketball. I had all the young ladies around me. I was hyped up, one of the top players in the state of Ohio, and my head was inflated with pride. I did not have a mentor. I did not have a coach. I did not have a father figure to tell me, hey, listen here, son. I know you're smelling yourself right now, but you need to chill out because you're on your way to a fall. I know you think that you all that, but you're really not all that. I needed somebody to tell me that when somebody give me a compliment or some accolades, that I say, you know what? All praise to my Heavenly Father, because it's the one to Him that gave me these gifts. I was sucking it all in. I'm a living legend. I want you to remember my name. This is how I felt as a teenager. Write my names on the wall so you can know who I am. Watch out for this pride, all right? Let's go back where I had. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 13 and verse 1. And I'm going to open up the line to you all. I don't want y'all to feel like I'm about to go on a rant. It is a good thing we do have this syllabus in front of me to keep me from doing that. Ecclesiastes chapter 13 and verse 1. It says, he that toucheth the pit shall be defiled therewith, and he that has fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. Can we ask you brothers right here that got y'all phones muted outside of Darren Despise, can you open your screens up, please? I've just asked everybody. We don't want to be doing these live Zoom meetings and you're out doing who knows what. You're not paying attention. It's not fair to the group if you're not all the way plugged in. It's really not. All right. Ecclesiastes 13 and verse 1, like I said, if you touch the pitch, you will be defiled therewith, and he that has fellowship with a proud man will be like unto him. Listen, this is a law. This is a spiritual law right here. If you are connected to prideful individuals, you're going to be prideful just like them. It's a disease. It will rub off on you. You have to be careful who you align yourself with. If you see individuals who are smelling themselves, who think that they are above reproach, this is why I've had to distance myself from certain elders, certain men that are 20 years older than mine. Guess why? Because when it was time for correction to get brought to them, they was above reproach. And so I had to distance myself. Don't have fellowship with prideful individuals. It will rub off on you. All right. I'm going to read a couple more, and I'm about to open it up to you all because I want to get your feedback as well. Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 7. All right, it says, go from the presence of a foolish man when you perceive not in him the lips of knowledge. Go from the presence of a foolish man. This foolish individual, they do not want to hearken unto the words of wisdom. They do not want to hearken to the words of the Most High. Why are you spending your time? Because they believe that they are above reproach. They believe that what you say really don't matter.